Good evening, everyone. It's Glenn Kellaway from the basement, back with our live Tuesdays. Bear with me for 1 second. I need to do a couple of house cleaning things here. Hope everyone is doing well. Everyone had a great New Year's. Um, Bear with me for a second. I'm getting some kind of feedback here because of expecting Sam and Rob. Save, where are we here? I always call Rob's channel Northern Reflections because it's a name of a store. Here we go. So let's get back. How come I can't get back to my chat? I am totally screwing up here somewhere. There we go. Got it. I'm all by myself still. There's 6 people here. Thank you for joining me. Sorry for that little bit of stuff coming up here. I don't see any comments yet, but welcome who's ever here. New Year's passed. I hope everyone had a good evening and the year's starting off well for you. Nothing but trouble for me. Hey, Mark, how are you? My dishwasher broke down. Sam said he'll be there in 30 minutes. I think he's joking with me. If he's not, I'm gonna yeah, my dishwasher broke down, leaked, wrecked my kitchen floor. We had a gas leak next door. They had to turn off their natural gas in 2 houses of my neighbors. And hey, Darren, and put a temporary gas line from my gas line over to their house so they could have heat. And without fear of blowing up. And what the heck else happened? My daughter got COVID. My dog has got teeth problems. They want $2,000 to fix them. What else is going on? I can't figure it out. A lot of stuff. Oh, here's Rob. I got someone to talk to. Buddy.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Not bad. Sam's always late. That's his MO.
I always say, I get the kid in bed. I got to go do the live stream. Survive New Year's?
I did survive New Year. I was just telling about it's been nothing but problems for the last week.
Uh-oh.
My dishwasher broke. It leaked and wrecked my floor. We had a gas leak in our neighborhood, and they've had a temporary gas line from my house, which isn't affected, to all my neighbors.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's been. My dog got a vet bill. If we want it, we got to do some dental work on them. $2,000 they want. Oh, what the hell else? I can't even talk about what else. That's enough.
That's a good start to the new year.
Good start to the new year. But lots of new records and stuff, so everything's cool.
There you go.
Yeah. Have you heard that Spoon album that everybody's talking about?
I haven't, but it was on the top of your list, and it was on the top of my buddy Mike, the Vinyl Policeman.
Well, it was only on the top of my list because I bought it late because I saw it on everybody else's list, and I bought it on Boxing Day. It's so good.
Is it good? I'm really going to have to listen to it because
something
it's
got Living on the Sofa or some damn thing. Yeah, check it out.
Okay.
It's a great rock album. Really good.
That's good.
Yeah, Mark says I should write a country song about my experience. Yeah. My dog's sick and my dishwasher's broke and my girlfriend left me with my best friend.
And she stole my truck.
She stole my truck, and I really miss my truck. That's that old joke. My wife just ran off with my best friend, and I really miss him.
I didn't catch that a minute ago. Yeah,
Yeah. How was your New Year's? Okay.
it was great. It was quiet, just like Christmas. We just stayed home and didn't go out, didn't do anything.
We had a quiet one too. Oh, Mr. St. John's joining us.
There he is.
There he is. Hair's looking good, Sam.
Yeah, thank you. That's a different wig.
Yeah. Well, that's what we need.
A different wig. Yeah.
The hair club for men.
That's right.
Yeah.
For only $99.99, you too can have a head full.
Yeah. But remember, there used to be that Ron Popeil guy used to have spray on hair. I don't know if you remember that. There was like a cheesy, that was like an infomercial, spray on hair.
You and I need to get a couple of those Beatles wigs that they used
Yeah,
to
yeah. That's cool. So welcome, everyone. There's 7 people here. So everybody else who joins us can catch up. But we've got a pretty, I think we're kind of excited about our little theme tonight. So
it's funny when we were talking about it over email, and you said come up with 10. I thought, oh man, I don't know if I can think of 10. I thought of way more than 10. It was pretty hard to pare the list down.
Yeah,
it was a lot easier than I thought, to be quite honest.
Well, go ahead, Rob. Tell everybody what we're going to do.
So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to rank the 10, our 10 favorite famous concerts that we wish we had been in attendance at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I think is a pretty neat idea.
Or and expand it a little bit, because a musical event. So like
a musical event, so it doesn't have to be a concert.
You could pick Woodstock, but you don't have to say the whole festival. You could just say, well, they flew me in by helicopter so I could see Santana.
Which is exactly how I start my list.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. And or TV, you could be at a TV studio to see whatever, like some performance, whatever you wanted that's a musical event, basically. So that's pretty cool. And I guess Larry's not going to join us tonight, so I wasn't sure if the Stud Muffin was going to come on board. I gave him the theme, but he's not here, so we're going to go without him. Let's get started.
Go ahead and get started.
Oh, here, hold on a second. I want to address this for a second. Not the best 200 singers of all time. So, did you look at that list, you guys?
Well, as soon as I saw Billie Eilish on there, I said, "All right, this is going straight to crap."
I've been fighting with people on the Hoffman forums for 2 days straight.
Yeah.
Who's a good singer and who's not a good singer? Like, it's so subjective. How do you do that?
Hardly any of the crooners made it. I think only Sinatra made it. No Tony Bennett, no Dean Martin. No,
I wouldn't. They wouldn't, because I don't like crooners. None of them would be in my top 200 ever.
But it's your point. It is. It's so subjective. Everybody's list is.
It's subjective, yeah. And like somebody like Bob Dylan, who's got total control of his voice and puts a song across like no one else. I mean, he doesn't sing like.
But I disagree. I think Dylan is such a shitty singer. One of the best songwriters ever. Can't sing.
But he's not, because he can get across any emotion. Like, he can be angry. He can be, like he's got.
I think he sounds like a cat getting run over by a lawnmower.
So to me, I think he's one of the best singers ever.
I think he's one of the worst singers ever. Can't stand
see,
it.
so it's so
and that just proves my point.
I was fighting with a guy who was going Karen Carpenter. I said, I can't listen to Karen Carpenter for 2 seconds. Every song sounds the freaking same. What does she ever?
But if you're going
the Karen Carpenter voice, no matter what she sings, it sounds like Karen Carpenter. There's no
whatever they're considering a singer, though, because a good singer. I mean, the crooners were good singers. I mean, as a like in the school of
because they had control of their voices and could sing.
Somebody like Mick Jagger was on the list. You know, like what are you calling singing? Taylor Swift was on the list. Sorry, Rob. To me, she sings. I mean, her talent definitely is her writing. I mean, that's what she.
Yeah.
But singing, I've heard 100 girls sing like Taylor Swift.
Yep.
I mean, nothing about her voice is like, oh my, like.
No, you're absolutely right, and I say that as a Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah,
so it's so subjective. It's hard to do that list. That's
anything that Rolling Stone comes out with a list, it's automatic trash to me.
It is. I agree. So that's enough of that. Okay, let's get started. I'm excited to get started on our theme tonight. So the 10 most special events that we wish we could have attended.
I think this is going to go all over the board.
I think it is too.
I think maybe that the top 3 or 4 we're going to see some overlap, but some of these early picks I think are going to be, it's going to be interesting.
Who started last week? You or Rob?
Larry started last week.
Larry? Who
Yeah.
went second?
So Larry goes
I
last
went
tonight.
second.
Okay, so Sam going to go first.
Okay. Kind of like Rob, because we kind of had this little correspondence about what topic we were going to pick during our chat last week, and then we had some more detailed talks in our emails off camera. And Glenn asked the question, he's like, do you think we can come up with 10 places, 10 concerts? And I was like, yeah, I think I can come up with it. And I just started listening off these shows or these events, and like I think I had it narrowed down to like a strong 15. And so at that point, it was like, like what order am I putting these in, and what 5 am I going to scrap? But clocking in at number 10 for me, one of the most famous concerts of all time, one of the biggest live albums of all time. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall, maybe not in the audience just because of the danger element. But I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall at Folsom Prison to see Johnny Cash.
Oh,
that almost made my list. Almost.
I never thought of that one.
Freaking
awesome.
I've talked about this a few times. I got to interview 2 of the Statler brothers in college at different times. One of them, Don Reed, one of the original members. The other one was Jimmy Fortune, who wasn't at Folsom. But I asked Don about what Folsom was like, and he said it was literally like you didn't know where you were. In terms of like you walked in that room, you didn't think that you were in America. You didn't think that, you thought you were a prisoner, obviously. But he said all he can remember is like there's doors slamming, like behind the scenes, and seeing those pipes and hearing the water come through the pipes. And he just thought it was intimidating because some of those guys that were in there, they were lifers. But I mean, listen, you put on that album, you hear a song, you hear Johnny doing like Cocaine Blues, or Greystone Chapel, or Egg Sucking Dog, Boy Named Sue, all of those songs. He opens with Folsom Prison, which, can you imagine being at Folsom Prison and hearing that song for the first time?
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny was at pure, full speed ahead. He was clean at this point. He'd been clean for a couple of years, so he was at the top of his game. June Carter, he would marry like 2 or 3 months later. He had the Statlers with him. He had Carl Perkins with him. It was just prime Johnny Cash. If I was to have Johnny Cash over at my apartment, like we talked about the other week, I would want him around that era. That was when he was full on Man in Black, the hair slicked back, just cool as all get out. And to see Folsom Prison, that would have been incredible.
Wow, that's a great pick. I love that. Never thought of that one.
Yeah.
I did have that as number 10, and then it got bumped.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But to Sam's point, fly on the wall, maybe. I don't know that I'd actually want to.
I wouldn't want to sit. No.
I mean, this is going to come out wrong. I've been in prison for 2 days. When I say that, not as an inmate. I was in in Canada, the government runs trade shops in prisons, and I'm in the commercial woodworking industry. So I came into the prison as an industry person to help them in their wood shop for a couple of days. So I had an escort. I had an escort with me every second. Even when I went to the bathroom, the escort was with me, and I was scared out of my mind. And that was only a medium security prison, so I can't imagine. No.
Yeah.
Especially back in the late 60s when, clearance was a lot different than it was now.
Right.
I visited Alcatraz. That's the closest I've been.
That's still pretty intense, even now with nobody there.
Wow. Rob, number 10.
Right. So my number 10, we talked about Woodstock. Arguably the greatest, probably, festival rock concert ever. I don't want to go to the whole thing. There's one band I want to go see, and I want to go see the band.
Yep.
I mean, so you can actually get their Woodstock set on the 50th anniversary release of this.
I have that. Yeah.
They released the whole Woodstock set is on here.
I have it.
I mean, the band is one of my favorite acts of all time, right there underneath the Beatles. To see them live would be incredible. To see them live at Woodstock would be incredible. And to see them do that, it would be perfect. It was nighttime when they were playing. I've seen some video from it. And I mean, they're awesome all the time, but just the added magic of it being what it was, I think would have just been incredible. Fly me in for that and fly me back out again.
Yeah, that's a funny thing about Woodstock. It would have been the most uncomfortable place to be on Earth. You had no toilet facilities, no food,
Yeah.
rain, just dirty, filthy.
Trio. Yeah.
500,000 people. Like it would just be one of the most uncomfortable 3 days of your freaking life.
Nothing about that sounds appealing, but
No,
obviously I'm too young to have experienced that Woodstock. But when you watch the movie and whatever, the music that happened there,
yes, incredible.
It was just lightning in a bottle.
So if we had a musical genie, it would be like a helicopter ride from a really nice hotel, fly me just backstage there, drop me off, let me watch from the side of the stage. I want to watch the band, and then then fly me back out.
Yep, absolutely.
It was funny when I went to see I saw Blind Faith at Varsity Stadium, and coming out of there, they were handing out flyers for Woodstock. But no one knew at that time Woodstock was going to be Woodstock. It was just, but you got to see the list of the people who were going to be there, and it was like incredible. But I was 16, so I wasn't really of an age where I would hop on a highway and hitchhike to New York State. So, but I was aware that the festival was coming, and I did see the band. I saw them in 1970 at Festival Express, so in Toronto.
My parents saw them. Just after they were the Hawks, just as they were becoming the band, they played a coffee shop at what is now the University of Guelph.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, my first one, I switched it. I was going to use something that I decided against. Now, what happened to my list? There it is. So number 10 for me.
The dog ate Glenn's homework.
July 5th, 1969. Anybody know what that date is for that?
Post-Independence Day in America.
Rolling Stones, Hyde Park.
After Brian Jones passed.
After Brian Jones passed. It was kind of a celebration of Brian's life. To see the Stones then would have been incredible. And one of my all-time favorite bands, King Crimson, that was their debut, which would have blown me away. But what an event that would have been to attend it. It's hard to tell how many people were there. They say anywhere from 250,000 to 500,000. So I'm not sure. Wow. It was Mick Taylor's first concert with the Stones. So yeah, that would have been mine.
Very cool.
While we're even here, let's see what people are saying. Genesis in London. Oh, that's Genesis in London, Ontario. Wow. 76. First show with Phil Collins on vocal and Bill Bruford on drums. Wow. Very cool. Good evening, Christian.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, Christian.
Oh, yes. Love the band. Either there, Woodstock or Last Waltz for sure. That might be coming up later.
There's a chance.
Truth. I would have been at Atlanta Pop than Woodstock. Yeah, I thought about Atlanta Pop Festival. That was one that almost made my list. It was really the music made Woodstock special, and the drugs. That Festival Express movie shows a great slice of that experience. Yes, it's actually very true to life, that experience. I was there. Everything they show in that thing is very realistic of how it was. Levon and Rick Danko with the 89 tour. Christian, I saw that tour too. Rolling Stones in Cleveland, Tony says. Stones Hyde Park, first Taylor concert. I love those Ringo All-Star tours. Yeah, the first one was amazing because Joe Walsh, Levon Helm, Rick Danko,
Billy Preston,
Clarence Clements, unbelievable.
Niles Lofgren,
Hendrix and the Who at Monterey. That might make an appearance. Cool. Back to you, Sam. Number 9.
Number 9. This was kind of my sleeper pick, and I think it's more. Again, I've never really listened to much from this show, but just because of the historical significance of it, would be Elton John at the Troubadour in 1970. When it was just Elton and Dee Murray and Nigel Olsson, and he was a trio. And really, any of those times where Elton was in a trio, I would have loved to see that. Some of those performances from the BBC are just unbelievable. If you listen to that 11-17-70 album, it's incredible. but just to see how Elton really broke into U.S. American, rock music at the Troubadour in California would have just been unbelievable. Just that tiny venue, Elton, still hungry for fame, hungry to get his songs out there. Him and Bernie were still sharing a flat, at that point, and had only really done the Empty Sky and the Elton John records. Just to hear Elton in that acoustic setting would have just been unbelievable. And to see Dee Murray, because Dee Murray was just an incredible bass player, very melodic. Not one that's ever mentioned a whole lot in the list of great bassists, but he was really, really good. And the way that he could follow Elton, they were really, some of those early Elton John tunes, they were really jamming. Like they really did some jams.
Yeah.
A song like Burn Down the Mission, they could stretch out to like 11 minutes. And two of them are, Elton's the only one playing rhythm, and Dee Murray playing that melodic bass. Nigel with those high vocals in the background. Just that would have been incredible to see that Elton.
I'll say.
In his
And
early
he would have
20s.
been so new and fresh at the time too, right?
Yeah, and essentially doing just those first albums worth of material and a few covers would have just been mind blowing. So Elton John at the Troubadour for me, number 9.
Wow, that's a great pick again. You're freaking me out here, Sam. You got 2 great ones.
That's a good one.
That's why you pay me, Glenn.
You're getting paid. Oh, what?
Glenn pays me to get on here.
Yeah, I have to. You won't come on for free. Oh, you weren't supposed to tell Rob that.
Damn.
Yeah, right.
I take Canadian Tire money, so
you just get a little thing now.
Yeah, I know. You get the app on my phone.
Yeah.
All right. My number 9 is the Beatles at Shea Stadium.
Oh.
Which I think was late 64, early 65.
August 65, whatever the date.
If I remember, that was the first time that a band had played a stadium. I think that was the first stadium concert.
Broke records, like 60,000 people or 55,000 people or something. Was
I've seen video of it and whatever, and like most Beatles concerts, you probably couldn't hear anything except screaming. But
and
they're playing in a baseball stadium, and all they have is their little amps.
Right.
No sound, nothing going through anything.
Right. But just to say that I was there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Shea Stadium would have been great. I don't know why they don't release that. There was a whole ABC did a whole TV show on that. I don't know if you've ever seen it. You can buy bootleg videos of it.
Yep.
They do all the opening acts and then they show the whole Beatles performance and them flying in on the helicopters into the stadium and they just never they got great video of that and they never.
Well, that great at the end of the 8 Days a Week that Ron Howard did. That's incredible. That the whole footage. Was at the end of that documentary, which was so cool to see in color after the credits.
My number 9, Sam, the Troubadour. The same place. I mean, just a historic venue in LA. And I'm not sure who I want to see there. Tom Waits, Jackson Browne, James Taylor, the Byrds. I'm going to pick the Byrds.
There you go.
1965, 66 at the Troubadour.
You could almost just blanket statement say anyone that played the Troubadour.
Who's ever playing that night, I'll go see.
Even Mike Nesmith played there.
Getting up, or Don Henley, or Glenn Fry, or
Nesmith played there before the Beatles. I mean, before the Monkees.
Yeah. So the Troubadour would just been a magical place to go. So that's my number 9.
I know a few years before, it was about the time that Petty went on I think he was touring about 2014. They played the Troubadour as a surprise. They went under a fake name, but the rumors had gotten out because they put the tickets up for sale that morning, kind of thing. And he brought out Jeff Lynne at the end, and they did the Traveling Wilburys song "Poorhouse."
Oh, really?
Which is a deep cut from the second album.
It would be from Volume 3.
You can tell they probably sang it once backstage because Jeff Lynne is just kind of humming the melody, but it's so cool to see them do that together.
Wow, that's neat. Is there video of that?
There's some cell phone video on YouTube. Yeah.
Wow.
You should check it out.
What year would that have been?
About 2014.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elton John, early Elton.
Yeah.
11/17/70. Dee Murray was underrated. Yeah, I love his bass playing. A Beatles show at the Cavern before they got famous. That would be epic.
I would have rather, and I almost put it on my list, I would rather have seen the Beatles at the Star Club in Hamburg.
Yeah, the Kaiser Keller, one of those German shows. Yeah, that when they were real badass, playing for like 6 hours. Yeah, Wow. Number 8, Sam.
Well, with the current comments, I'm actually changing my number 8 as we speak because I had up until 20 seconds ago the Beatles at the Cavern Club. However, I was actually thinking about it when we started. I was juggling in my head, do I want to see them there or at this particular event? And I chose this event because of how many people this event influenced. I would have loved to have seen the Beatles at the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Yeah.
I got that a little further up my list.
Yeah, I mean, again, because I'm, I guess a second generation Beatles fan, whatever they call it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I like the Beatles. Just the number of artists that I love and respect that all talked about being, 10 years old, 15, 16, sitting on their floor, watching the Beatles on black and white TV, open up with All My Lovin'.
I
Again-
mean, that's kind of like the seismic event that just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
changed
One
the
of
face
those events you
music.
never forget where you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Springsteen talks about that, like that moment, and then hearing the crack of Like a Rolling Stone for the first time is like the
Yeah.
two moments that really just blew his mind. And that's the moment where they all say, the 60s went from black and white to color, when
Yeah.
they were on Ed Sullivan. I just, again, like Rob said with Shea Stadium, that this is the only like huge thing for the Beatles that I would have wanted to see, just because the sound, like with the girls, you couldn't have heard a thing. But for that, just to be there for that moment and to say, that's when rock and roll of the modern era started right there.
Yeah.
So
I was
Yeah, dark event.
I was talking to my friend Bob, who played in Wilco. When he was in Wilco, they played Letterman, and Letterman's theater was the Ed Sullivan
Ed
Theater.
Sullivan Theater.
And what was that like to walk out onto the stage where the Beatles played?
Yeah.
Like
Pretty crazy.
religious experience.
Yeah.
Well, there's a neat video where is it Ringo and Paul that they're like 2009. They're with David Letterman. They're pointing out, where things were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was 11 years old when that happened, and I still vividly remember we were at my aunt and uncle's house for dinner, and I was so excited that the Beatles were coming up, and I still remember sitting on the floor in front of the TV set, my aunt and uncle and my mom and dad on the couch behind me, and every time they did the ooh or shook their head or something, they're laughing.
Yeah.
Just shut up! Like I was getting so upset that they were taking it. They thought it was a joke, right? And I'm going, yeah, I guess that joke's on you. But vividly remember that night. Wow. Okay, so Rob, number 8.
Number 8. This is a performer that I've loved. Maybe the first musician that I ever thought was just the cat's ass. Elvis. I would have loved to have been at the 68 comeback special.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's so much that's great about that, but that segment where he's got that leather suit on and he's sitting there playing that I don't know whether it was a Gibson ES335, whatever that hollow body electric was, and he was doing like Lottie Miss Claudie and Guitar Man, like that segment. Oh man, and to be that close to the king of rock and roll, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, and he really came back and rejuvenated himself that night. He was like
Absolutely.
the old Elvis, right? He was
Yeah.
He was out of the movies for the most part.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That would be cool. That was a great special. There's no doubt about that. Wow. My number 8 is just because it's one of my favorite live albums of all time, and it's such an energetic performance in a historic venue, the Fillmore East, that I would have loved to have seen a show at. Humble Pie, rocking the Fillmore. They played there May 28th and 29th, 1971. And the Steve Marriott, Peter Frampton, and man, like just it's such a great album and such a great performance. It would have been amazing to be there for it. They did 2 shows on one day and 2 the next, and I just would have loved to have seen a show at the Fillmore. So I picked that one.
Yeah,
could have been that of the Allman Brothers. I was kind of flipping a coin. That's my number 8.
very cool.
Good one.
Okay, I consider myself a second generation Beatles fan. I was 15 months old when they were in Ed Sullivan. You don't remember it, eh, Christian? Paul Revere and the Raiders' early shows with Drake Levin on guitar. Whoa, yeah. I can imagine to see Paul Revere and the Raiders. They were a great garage band, man.
I need to
think
get some
it's
of
the only
their.
reason they weren't bigger is because dressing up in those stupid costumes.
If they had stopped that, you'd take them. They're dismissed almost as a novelty band. By
Yeah, because of that. Because they
They could have been out there with the animals or any of those guys.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The zombies.
Absolutely. Wow. Sam, number 7.
Number 7, I'm going to stick to San Francisco as well in the Fillmore. And I'm just going to take any of the Tom Petty shows that happened at the Fillmore in 1990.
I knew you were going to say that.
I thought that would be your number 1.
No, it's a little further back, just probably because there were some, because maybe it was a lot of the covers. You'll know what my later ones were my later ones, but I mean, especially after this box set, I mean, I knew a lot of these songs. They came out on various compilations, and there's video of some of them. But to see Petty at that point, the band was tight as ever. You still had Howie Epstein on the bass, with the addition of Scott Thurston on the background vocals and everything else in between instrumentally. Ferroni on the drums, Benmont, you had Campbell, and then obviously Petty doing their thing. Different sets every night. I think they ended up doing like 90 some songs after 3 weeks of playing there, whatever it was. Yeah, I mean, just listen to that box set and you'll know why it would have been incredible to be there. Again, small venue, historic venue. Yeah, that's that. It really, give me any Petty show, I would have gone to see it. It would have made my top 10 because I never got to see him. So
me neither, and I wish I would have.
Yeah.
And like you, that almost made my list too, but it got bumped.
Yeah, Petty almost made mine too, and he got bumped.
Oh,
It's funny, but I knew you'd bring him on. So,
oh yeah.
Rob, number 7.
Number 7 for me is the 27th of March, 1987, at the Republic Liquor Store on 7th and Main in Los Angeles. And U2 goes up on the roof to shoot the video of Where the Streets Have No Name.
Oh, cool.
They announced it that morning, and over 1,000 people showed up, and they actually
That's a
did.
unique one. That's excellent.
So they were sort of paying homage, obviously, to the Beatles' rooftop performance.
Yeah.
The video's fantastic. They did 4 takes of the song, and then they also did People Get Ready, In God's Country, Sunday Bloody Sunday, and Pride. So I would have been awesome for me. Yeah.
That's really good. Wow. Very cool. You guys are picking up some great ones. I love this. My number 7, the Monterey Pop Festival, the whole frickin' thing.
Yep.
That was really the granddaddy of pop festivals. I mean, that's the father of pop festivals, really.
Yeah.
And Monterey, geez. And I mean, the Byrds, Mamas and Papas, and Buffalo Springfield, and then all the San Francisco bands, Grateful Dead and Janis Joplin and Big Brother and Hendrix and The Who and Otis Redding. And oh my God, just that whole weekend would have just been magical. Unbelievable. That would have been really cool. That's my number 7.
It's a good one.
Sam, number 6.
Are we up with the chats?
Oh, I guess I could. There's not much to chat about here. Who's
I agree
Christian
with you.
says, lucky enough to see the original Animals reunited in 83. Was Chaz Chandler still in the band then, Christian?
Yeah, I don't know.
Evening, gents. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
I saw Petty 4 times, once with Dylan. Damn, Christian.
Wow.
We're envious.
Uh,
Wow. Unreal. That's all I got. That's all the comments.
all right. Well,
Number 6.
it's funny. I'm staying in theme with both of you all. I mean, we've talked about the Troubadour. We talked about the Fillmore, and Rob just mentioned U2. So probably the surprising one on my list. I would have loved to have seen the U2 halftime show at the Super Bowl in 2002.
Oh, interesting.
It's an interesting pick.
It's the greatest Super Bowl halftime show, in my opinion, of all time. Very impactful for the
Better
time.
than Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson?
It just nudged that off.
A little less.
Okay.
But it was obviously the first big football tournament after 9/11, and you had just three songs. You had was it Pride in the Name of, excuse me, A Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
Then you had MLK, which when they're singing it had this huge banner rolling off the names of the casualties of all the civilians and the
They
EMTs.
did that on that whole tour because I saw them on that tour and they did that at every show.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that because that album, All You Can Leave Behind, kind of became an anthem for post 9/11.
Yeah.
And then you have the Edge just morph into Where the Streets Have No Name, which is always I mean, I've never seen U2, but it's always a moment of their shows that they're hitting that emotional climax. When it's usually from one song into another where Edge just starts hitting that and when they're doing it, Bono, he's just going to town running. And even at this time, I mean, they weren't necessarily in the prime of their life. I mean, Bono is, in his mid to late 40s running around. You're afraid that don't fall, or get hurt. But then of course,
hey, come on, mid 40s isn't that old. I'm going to be 45 next week.
But the big moment of that, obviously they're singing, Where the Streets Have No Name. And then when he pulls back that leather jacket and there's the American flag inside, and then they start singing, love, love, love from All You Need Is Love. And he's got the heart. It's just, it was a perfect show for that time in history. And it was so classy how it was done. They didn't shorten the songs because a lot of times those halftime shows, they'll pump in 7 or 8 songs, like a minute of each. They did the 3 songs straight. They killed it like they were playing for 3 hours.
And that was back when they actually did halftime shows live as opposed to just lip syncing.
Yeah,
most of them are now.
Yeah. And so like I said, it was just a perfect halftime show. I was too young to appreciate it then, but I've watched that halftime show so many times since then, and I would have loved to have been there on the field.
Wow, that's cool. That's a cool pick too.
Yeah,
you guys
a good one.
Really thinking outside the box here. Perfect. It's great.
Speaking of thinking outside of the box, so my number 6, July the 1st, 1980, Long Beach, California, otherwise known as Wrong Night in Long Beach, was the night the Eagles broke up.
Oh.
So
I don't know when they punched it when Don Felder and Glenn Frey got a punch up or something.
So this is what happened. So they were doing a benefit concert for the re-election of Senator Don Cranston.
That's right.
And Felder didn't give a crap because he wasn't into politics. And Henley said something backstage, congratulated the senator or whatever. And Felder made some offhanded comment like, whatever. And that pissed Fry off. So the whole concert, in between songs, Fry and Felder are chirping off at each other. And I have a bootleg of the concert. It's actually a good show, but it just keeps ratcheting up. And at one point he's like, I'm going to kick your effing ass when we get off the stage. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And then it's like 3 more songs. So I'm going to beat you up, you mother. And so when the show ends, they run off stage and Felder takes one of Fry's guitars and smashes it into pieces, and they all get into their limo. And then they never spoke again until the reunion in 96.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to have been there for the history. I'm a big Eagles fan.
Yeah.
And I think Fry is such an asshole that I'd like to see him being an asshole. It just would have been a neat,
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So it's among Eagles fans, it's known as Wrong Night in Long Beach.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh my God. Okay, number 6. So 1967, I was 14 years old. I don't even know why I didn't know about these concerts that were going on. O'Keefe Center in Toronto, Jefferson Airplane, and Grateful Dead played the O'Keefe Center for 5 days straight. I want to show you
I didn't even know about that.
a poster. You can see it. So I'll just do a bit of time here. In Toronto, Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, August 30th.
Wow.
I think it's July 30th to August 5th. O'Keefe Center. So this is a replica poster. The original posters for this are really rare. You know how much they go for? Like 20 grand.
Oh my God.
Woo.
Yeah. I found this. Somebody was selling this online. I went, I wonder if somebody's got a real poster and they didn't know. So I bought it right away because I only paid like $15 for it.
Yeah.
Turns out it was a replica.
That's one band I'm far too young to have seen, but really would have loved to have seen is Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah, me too. And I never saw the Jefferson Airplane, one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, anyway, so they were hanging around Toronto for 5 days there, and I don't know where I was or what was going on at the time, but I didn't go. But that's my number 6, Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, O'Keefe Center.
Grace Slick would have been a good one to have over for dinner the other week to sing White
Yeah,
Rabbit.
she would have. Imagine she's got some stories.
I bet.
She might remember all of them. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get caught up. So I asked the question if Chaz Chandler was with the Animals in '83. He was still there. I can't remember when he passed away, what year he passed away. Pretty young. Happy
John.
New Year, John.
Hey, John.
Growing up, all concerts were $5, $10 general admission. So yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Cream at Massey Hall for $3.50.
Wow.
Last time I saw Petty, it was second row center in Milwaukee. Kristen's just digging the knife in, isn't he? Like it's like nah.
Yeah. Can we block people here?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna block him.
Yeah, block.
Yeah, that's
Christian there.
amazing, Christian. Very cool. Velvet Underground in '69.
You can have that, but I'm sure.
Me too. I'm not a big Velvet Underground fan, but a lot of people are.
Larry would be there.
Last time I saw Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever tour in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, second row. Tickets were $85.
Second row for $85, and
The Record Collector. Hey guys. Okay, we're in the top 5 now.
top 5. Now, number 5 for me. Again, I could have gone any show on this tour, but there's one in particular. Possibly, I would say, definitely his most famous concert of all time. That would be 1966, Bob Dylan at Manchester Hall with the band, with the
You're a
Hawks.
liar. Is that one?
You're a liar. Yeah. I don't believe you. Yeah. Yeah. Dylan on, in the midst of his electric tour with most of the band behind him. And then, going electric, the first half were his folk songs, essentially from Bringing It All Back Home. And then he would do like Visions of Johanna, acoustic as well. And then obviously the second set, he would bring on Garth, Richard, Robbie, and Rick to back him up. And this was the show in England. The bootleg always said Royal Albert Hall. Of course, we know that's not true, but he did play at the Royal Albert Hall during that tour, where audience members shouted out, "You're a liar." They yelled Judas, and he said, "You're a liar. I don't believe you." And then he looks back to the band and he says, "Play it effing loud."
Yeah.
And they break into Like a Rolling Stone, and he's just gritty on the vocals. It's pure rock and roll. Even through the the speakers on the record player, you can't imagine what it sounded like in there for real. The energy, because the band said that, a lot of these shows, it was always looked at as, everybody booing, but the majority of people were actually cheering. It was just because once you have more than 20 people in a crowd booing, it sounds like a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unnerving. Even like a comedian can go to 2,000 people and have one heckler, and that gets in their head. So I can't imagine having 20 or 30 people booing me in a 3,000 person venue like Dylan was playing on this tour. But just to hear Dylan and the band Electric in 65, 66, you can't. Come on.
So historic, and that would have been so cool.
And that show, to hear Judas, I can imagine like turning around thinking like, who on earth is saying this? This sounds great.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's a great one too. Yeah. Wow. Number 5, Rob.
All right. Number 5 is you might remember this, Glenn. Most people probably would not have heard of it. September 1969, Varsity Stadium in Toronto. The Toronto Rock Revival. Yep. Which resulted in this album.
Yeah.
Right here.
Live Peace in Toronto.
This is exactly Plastic Ono Band, Live Peace in Toronto. This was the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first time the Plastic Ono Band actually played a live show, if I'm not mistaken. It was a rock revival put on in Toronto. It was a festival in it's a stadium. And I guess from what I've read, ticket sales weren't going as well as the promoter had hoped. So the day before the show, the promoter who knew John Lennon called John Lennon and said, "Will you come to my festival? Not as just come and watch."
Yeah.
And Lennon said, "I'll do you one better. I'll play the festival for free." And the guy's like, "Of course." So Lennon asked George Harrison, and George said, "I can't do it, but call Eric." So he called up Eric Clapton. Clapton said, "Sure." Klaus Voormann on bass, and Alan White, who was eventually the drummer of Yes. The four of them got on a plane, having never played together before. They rehearsed on the plane ride to Toronto and then played the festival. Mm-hmm. And so the album itself, the first half is great. So Blue Suede Shoes, Money, Dizzy Miss Lizzy, Your Blues, Cold Turkey, Give Peace a Chance. And the second half is Yoko sounding like she's drowning cats. But the first half is incredible. And I would have loved to have seen John Lennon with Clapton, one of the early Ono band shows, in my hometown, so to speak.
Yeah.
My big regret, because that Saturday, the only reason I didn't go to that festival, because the Doors played at that festival too.
Yes.
But it was all rock and roll, like Little Richard and Jerry Lee. It was all those guys. And that's what turned me off about going. I really wasn't interested.
See, that's why I would have wanted to go.
I wasn't interested in those guys at the time because it was 1969 and I'm listening to Zeppelin and Hendrix and everybody. Right. I mean, those rock and roll guys were really relics.
I look at it from that point, nostalgia end of things, having not been alive back then.
Now you look back, you go, it would have been great to see those guys. But at that time, it was like they were washed up has-beens.
Right.
Really, to a 16-year-old kid.
Right.
Anyway, that Sunday, there was rumors that Lennon was coming, but it was not officially announced.
Right, exactly.
And I spent all day at home going, no way John Lennon's coming to this frickin' thing. If I would have known for sure, I would have ran down there.
Did you kick yourself in the
butt
afterwards?
Kick myself. Just
like that.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But it wasn't. Bobby Gass, if you watch Bobby Gass Jail, he was there. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Wow, that's a great one. My number 5 is a Toronto event too, that's turned out to be kind of a historic event. It was El Macombo, March 6, 1978. It was a live radio broadcast. Elvis Costello at the El Macombo.
And you said El Macombo. I thought you were going to go a different direction with that one. But
the Stones? Oh,
that's
what I should have put on the list.
That's my honorable mention. Well, let's talk about that after we're done.
Yeah, Elvis Costello at the El Macombo. I mean, just a historic freaking show, and there's an album out. You can buy it. At one time, it was a bootleg. I think now it's an official release. But that would have been amazing. Had so much energy. Wow. Yeah, in a venue like that. But the Stones at the El Macombo, why didn't I think of that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if we get caught up here.
Hey, Rod. Rod the Happy Hippie.
Okay. Do you guys like the Beach Boys?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Everybody likes the Beach Boys. Sam's a huge fan.
I do love the Beach Boys.
He's like the honorary 27th Beach Boy.
Horseman's back from last week.
There he is.
Yeah. Now follow the rules, Horseman. You remember.
Or you got to go watch Larry's videos.
Yeah. These events have happened, though, so we're probably in good shape.
I would like to have seen the Beach Boys with the Holland lineup live.
Yeah, that's really getting some new praise with that box set.
Yep.
Nice.
I saw them with John.
I watched the 4 videos as punishment last week, by the way. Oh, you poor bastard.
Poor guy. He lived to tell.
Hell. I did see the 50th BB reunion 12 and Brian Wilson solo in 2000.
I would have loved to have been to that tour.
Very cool.
A reunion.
How was Brian? Somebody's asking a question about how was Brian that night.
I saw Brian on the Pet Sounds reunion tour, and he was great.
Floyd in 71 before metal. Santa Monica Civic Center, first row, 650. Oh, can you imagine?
I'm gonna do a plug for our buddy Jeff Witcher. If Jim doesn't know him, if you don't follow Jeff Witcher's Vinyl Destination, he's doing a great deep dive into Pink Floyd. He just finished Dark Side today. And it's just incredible. And I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan. I got Saucer Full of Secrets for Christmas because I've been wanting it for a long time. I always put it back, but after watching Jeff's video on Obscured by Clouds, I had no idea how much I like the songs on the album.
Great
I've never
album.
heard it. So I went out. I've got 3 Pink Floyd albums on order thanks to Jeff, and I've already told him that he owes me money.
I'm a huge Floyd fan up until Metal. After that, like Dark Side and that, I mean, they were great when they came out, but now I find them a bit boring. Like I like all the earlier stuff. Metal to Piper and back, all those ones are my go-to Floyd albums.
Yeah, I bought Metal, and I didn't have Wish You Were Here, so I went ahead and bought that too.
I still need to get that.
I know his health isn't the best, RN. I think they're talking about
Brian.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian was good in 2000 and still okay in 2012.
Yeah.
What year did he start to lose it?
1967.
Vocally in the early 70s.
Our bosses put us on the Duran Duran UK tour, rigging up for their full
Wow.
UK tour. If any of you like Duran,
Very
Duran.
cool.
That's pretty cool.
Duran
That's
Duran
cool.
were at the they were at the ball drop at Rockefeller Center on New Year's Eve for some reason.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Brian has canceled his recent tour, so now he's not touring. Last few years in decline. Wheelchair on stage.
Oh no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's canceled a few. Yeah, he's had back
In
surgery.
a wheelchair?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very glad I got to see him when I did.
Man, I really wanted to see him.
Yeah, me too.
He might be done touring.
Did you not see him, Sam?
No, I saw him on the same tour you did. So
Oh,
Rod.
no.
Hey, Rod.
We love Rod. One of the coolest dudes around.
I like Rod, even though he forgot my contest entry.
Oh, yeah, well, he'll make it
I
up to
raked him
you.
over the coals for it.
He'll
and
probably
I-
just give you $100 gift certificate.
Oh, I
know
think he
Rod's
should.
like that. Yeah,
I think he should.
yeah, I'm sure he will.
Or some Twizzlers. He'll give you Twizzlers at least.
I just watched your last video, Sam. If you had a chance to listen to the Steve Forbert,
I haven't yet. No, Christmas has really backlogged me musically.
do any of you own albums of bootlegs of a concert you've attended?
No, I
Quite a
don't.
few, yep.
I have in the past, but I don't have them now. I just didn't keep that stuff. But I had a couple of Springsteen ones. I
Glenn,
used
do
to
you
be able to go to record shows in Toronto, in the Toronto area, and there was a guy there
Yep.
who filmed concerts.
I still
And I
have on
talked to him. He had a
VHS.
little camera the size of a cigarette pack that he filmed these things on, and he would sit strategically where he could film it, and he had a guy sit in the front row hiding a microphone to record the sound, and then
I
they
know.
would sync it.
I know
And there's
exactly the
some
guy you're
great
talking
ones.
about, and I bought many VHS concerts off of him that I attended. I still have them, and one of these days I got to get them digitized because I don't have a VCR anymore.
Yeah,
But I know
had-
exactly
had a
the
couple
guy
of
you're talking
Springsteen
about.
ones.
It's like Seinfeld. He did that. He had a bootleg of
Yeah, the movie. Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
with the bat.
Yeah. I love it when I have handsome
Oh,
men on my
there's-
screen. Oh
You
wow!
must be watching something
Yeah,
else.
yeah. What channel are you watching right now?
She's watching the John Stamos Beach Boys.
What's
rock.
Yeah,
that
it must be.
Floyd link? It's Jeff Witcher.
WH.
WHITCHER.
Yep, Vinyl Destination.
Yeah, watch Jeff's channel. And Jeff's a cool dude too.
Hilarious.
I had Metal on 8-track back in the day. Yeah, my favorite Floyd album too. LOL, send you some Twizzlers, bro. I'm sorry I forgot you some Twizzlers.
It's all good, Rod. I just thought I'd give you the gears one more time.
Black or red Twizzlers. It's going to make a difference.
I think he does both, honestly.
Yeah, who doesn't like Badfinger?
Everyone loves Badfinger.
Yeah. Found it. Okay, cool. Now, don't go watch it now. Wait till we're done.
Yeah, Jeff's not that great.
Yeah, I filmed the John Anderson solo concert in 2008. Wow, very cool. Larry Graves will, if he's watching, will be going, really? I got to see that.
Is that when he sang Swinging? Just a swinging. I saw him acoustic. But
John Anderson?
John with the H. John Anderson, the country singer.
Oh, yeah, wrong guy.
Yeah.
Bruh. Jeff is amazing. Yes, he is.
Yeah, we love
He's
him.
a good dude. Okay, so we're down to what? The top 4?
Number
Yep.
4. Number 4. This could be one of you, y'all's number 1. It's the second, and it's the only artist that I have duplicated on here, and that is from 1969, January, the Beatles rooftop concert.
I did not put that.
I didn't either, and it was on my mind, though.
And the only reason I didn't put it is because you couldn't see them.
Well,
Well, if you were on the roof.
I would be
Fair enough.
reincarnated as Marine Starkey, and they'd say, "Thanks, Mo." Yeah. No,
I've been to Savile Row. I've been to the Apple offices, and it's a very tall building.
It's
I still
very-
I
would
have
be
been there
cool
too,
to
but
be-
they wouldn't let me up on the roof.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I mean everybody knows the story, so I won't go into it. But just to be there, even to be somebody that was disrupted from work, just to be at the bottom and to hear it, just to
Yeah.
say I was there, like oh yeah, I was in my the bank down the road, and it was a cold January morning, rainy, classic London day, and this rock music started echoing, and just to hear them do "I've Got a Feeling" and "One After 909," especially when you watch the Get Back movie, when it would have been so neat to have seen like when the police actually came upstairs, because in that scene in the movie, Paul is playing and he looks back and he's like, "This is exactly what I wanted,"
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
so cool. Because Paul wanted to get arrested. I mean, he was dying to get arrested. So, and they were rocking. They had fun. I mean, yeah, they repeated a lot of the songs, but I mean, to see the Beatles sing, the Hanky Panky would have been phenomenal.
I'll take it one step further. Since it's just a musical event, I would have liked to have been in the studio for a couple of weeks straight, just in the studio with them while they were practicing
Back
working on
sessions.
these songs.
Yeah, to see Paul play "Get Back" on the bass, to be right there. Oh,
very cool. That's a great one. Yeah, that's a great one. I'm going, how can I leave this out? Like, that's kind of the, one of the top ones.
yeah.
Wow. Rob?
Okay, so my number 4 is huge, but Glenn and I might be the only people to know this. Do you remember SARS stock?
Yeah, I was at that.
No.
Yeah.
So for
I
those who
left.
So those that don't
Before
know.
AC/DC and the Stones came.
Oh, you fool. So for those that don't know, back in 2003, Toronto was the epicenter of a SARS outbreak, which is actually a coronavirus like we're still dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they shut down the city because there was 438 cases and 44 deaths, and the WHO declared Toronto a no-go zone for several months. And tourism took a hit.
Killed our tourism industry. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Rolling Stones have a certain affinity for Toronto, so they came up with the idea of this concert. So it was held at Downsview Park, which is a former military air base in the middle of the city, and 500,000 people came.
Yeah.
And it was some Canadian acts like my good pals Blue Rodeo, and then Rush.
Guess Who?
Yeah,
Rush.
Guess Who, then Rush, then AC/DC, then the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
And to watch video of it, because it was broadcast on national television, was just, it looked like Woodstock. It really did. There was just an infinite sea of people.
Yeah.
And I mean, Rush, AC/DC, and the Rolling Stones, incredible.
So I had to work. I was working that day, but I was a salesman. So what it's like, like a salesman, you can kind of take off.
Yep.
So
I've never done that.
One of my co-workers lived in the vicinity of Downsview Park. So he said, if you can get through, park in my driveway, my wife will drop you off by the facility as close as you can get, and you can walk in. And okay, I knew a bunch of people who were going in different groups of people. So I said, when I get there, I'll call. There were so many people there, the cell phones weren't working. They were so jammed up. The whole network was so jammed up. You couldn't use your cell phone.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't find anybody. So I'm by myself. It's the most uncomfortable frickin' place in the world. It's outhouses, and it's just, it was awful.
And hot as
Music
hell.
was great, hot as hell.
Yep.
And really hot, like boiling hot. So I was there, and I saw Justin Timberlake. People were throwing balls.
Oh yeah, so he was out there, and he got booed because he was
throwing water bottles, and he's picking the water
bottles.
bottles. And I saw the Guess Who, and I saw quite a few. I think I saw Blue Rodeo.
So
and, I got so sick of it being there that I left before AC/DC came on, and it took me forever to get out of the frickin' place, and I couldn't get a cab. I couldn't get anything. I'm walking for a frickin' 2 miles to try and get back to my car. It's like really uncomfortable. I don't know. I don't like being uncomfortable.
So I was just watching highlights of it last night just to sort of refresh my memory. And I watched Blue Rodeo's performances of my favorite band, and my buddy was in the band at the time. And they played Trust Yourself, and he's got this blistering guitar solo. And I'm going, man, I'm thinking this guy soloed in front of 500,000 people. Yeah. He's coming over to my house next week, and I got to ask him, what the hell was that like? I mean, playing in front of 500,000 people and not blowing a note in your solo, like, I mean,
That's
my
pretty cool.
God.
That's great, though.
I'd forget how to play the guitar in front of that many people.
Pretty cool event.
And your fingers are all hot and swollen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just imagine like Rush, AC/DC, and the Stones on the same bill.
Yeah.
I watched it on TV, but I would have liked to have been there.
Well, that would have been like seeing the Desert Trip show like 6 years ago out in California.
Yeah.
That would have been unreal. Like Neil Young, Dylan, McCartney, the Stones.
Yeah.
That would have been incredible.
So SARS stock, as we call
SARS
it.
stock, yeah. I think I can't understand I wonder if my ticket stubs are around somewhere. I must have them somewhere. Number 4 for me, another club, London, England, in the mid-'60s, the Marquee Club. The Stones played there. The Yardbirds played there. The Who played there. Zeppelin played there. Hendrix played there. King Crimson played there. Yes played there. Jethro Tull played there. All the old blues guys, Alexis Corner and John Mayall and all those guys. Pick a band. Man, unbelievable. I don't know who I'd take. I'll take the Yardbirds.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like
You
one of
saw
those.
the
It doesn't
Yardbirds.
matter what night you show up.
Yeah. Again, it wouldn't matter. Yeah, just let me in to see something. I mean, what an incredible time to be in London and know these clubs were around and seeing all these bands. Can you imagine? Wow.
You'll
So
go
that's
and you'll go on stage, and the only people there were me and Chris Prophy playing guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Boo!
boo.
Okay, I gotta get Jeff was at SARS stock as well. We were chatting after a Manic Street Preachers gig with a few of the guys backstage with lead singer James Dean Bedford. He was on about Kurt Cobain. He said a guy called Jim Irwin bought his guitar. Wow. I imagine a Kurt Cobain guitar would be worth a couple of bucks.
That could be another topic. That could be another topic. What instruments do we want?
Yeah.
I have a Kurt Cobain guitar story for another day. I've
Never
touched
heard
on
of him as I haven't. No, I've never heard of Jim Irwin. SARS was insanely hot. Insanely hot, Jeff. You are right. It was uncomfortable. I'm a hotel guy. I'm not a camper.
I'm with you. I don't like the outdoors.
Another guy was at SARS. Well, there was 500,000 of us. So.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
No AC/DC.
I'm sure they were, though.
Amazing. Yeah, they kind of they even blew the Stones away, from what I understand. Let's see.
I was just watching their performance earlier of Thunderstruck at that
When
show.
you figure AC/DC, they're 10 years younger than the Stones. So
Yeah.
they had that going for them.
No, it wasn't Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber was barely
Wasn't even born then.
It was Timberlake.
He's only 12.
Justin Timberlake, yes. I would have loved to have been at MSG the night Lennon came out to perform with Elton John. That's a really good
That
one.
would be incredible.
Steve, All the World's a Stage. You're back, buddy?
That's my buddy Steve.
We miss you. So glad that you're there.
Steve, I just read about that chapter, and I'm reading Elton John's book slowly but surely, and he just talked about that and how, there was the whole bet thing where, Lennon would come on if he had a number one hit with Whatever Gets You Through the Night. And, yeah, I mean, Elton just said, it was an incredible night to have him. And he said he still can hear the crowd when John Lennon walked up on stage.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Just to do a commercial for Steve. So Steve had a channel called All the World's a Stage, which you can see there. He took a hiatus for probably a year, and now he's back. So please make a note to go to All the World's a Stage and subscribe to Steve's channel and watch him. He's an awesome guy. We've missed him dearly and glad to see him back.
It's good to see you, Steve, for real.
Timberlake is good. And I still have my mug, Steve. I still drink tea out of my mug.
Steve gave me my first VCLT. He gave me an Argent record.
Very cool. Timberlake is good, but I guess you're there to see rock. You don't want to see him. No, yeah, it was a different audience, man.
Timberlake's
And people were hot. They wanted to see the Stones and
I wouldn't want to see him at all.
You don't want to see Justin Timberlake. It was just the wrong venue for him. Even though his heart was in the right place, he wanted to support the city.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a wrong event for him. Would you guys have wanted to attend Live Aid?
Hold on until my next one on my list.
Stay tuned, Christian.
Again, bands like U2 at Live Aid was awesome. Some people weren't that good at Live Aid. The Cavern to see the Beatles doing some other guy. Yeah,
Another
Jason,
guy?
that's a great one. The Beatles might come up.
Hey, Royce.
Hey, Royce.
Royce was one of my 11th hour
Hey, Glenn.
contest entries.
Good evening. Elton John is one of my favorite artists. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thanks, fellas. I should post something this week. We'll look forward to it, buddy.
Yeah.
Queen at Live Aid was, I mean, they were probably one of the best bands there. I don't know if I would have been caring about McCartney. His mic wasn't working properly, and Dylan came out unprepared with Keith Richards and Ron Wood, and kind of made a mess of that.
I like that performance. It's with God on Our Side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Phil Collins.
Grace with Sting was great.
Phil Collins was the trooper on that.
Hey, Chris.
When Jason Bonham got married at his reception, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones played an impromptu jam of about 2 or 3 Zeppelin tunes. That would have been pretty cool. Wow, that'd be a good. Say, I was at a private. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Bonham. What's crazy is how old he's getting.
Wow, very cool. Okay, so we're down to the top 3.
Yes, sir. All right, I believe this is the first repeat. I believe. I'm going to go with the Elvis 68 special.
Wow, you guys both.
Yeah.
I never even thought it. It wasn't even in my wheelhouse.
Elvis, a peak performance. He looked peak looks. Peak
he did. Coolness. He looked cool as hell.
His hair was dyed jet black. The shirt was unbuttoned down to here.
He was trim and fit.
He was trim. He was tan. He was full on Hollywood Elvis, but he had that. Like he had worked out for the show.
Yeah,
he's got the original boys from the band from back in the 50s because they're playing, on the guitar case with the sticks, like the drums.
Yep.
And then to hear him do Trying to Get to You, that's probably my favorite performance of that night, where he's sitting in the chair and he really wants to move, but he's sitting down, so he's using the guitar to move it around. But obviously, of course, the part it wasn't live, but to have been there, the If I Can Dream finale.
Oh my God, incredible.
Can you imagine? Because if you go on, there's a great video on YouTube that I found after seeing the Elvis movie over the summer, where they break down all of the takes that he did of that night and how he just gets more and more emotional with it. Because like he would do it to his full capacity and then he would say, let's do it again. It's unbelievable. And he had the moves down. Like it was all time. Like the arm thing he did every time. But man,
gives me chills, and I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah, every time. And
yep.
Anytime that there's somebody that's taken their life is taken too soon, like John Kennedy or Martin Luther King or any of those guys from the 60s that were taken too soon. That song was perfect for that time, but it's so timeless. It doesn't sound like a song from the 60s. It's just it's a perfect song. But that the whole special as a whole, to have been one of those people sitting on the stage with my arm up on that blocked stage, incredible.
Was that ever released as an audio, like a record, just a soundtrack album?
Yeah.
Or something?
And many different formats.
Is it? I've never seen it or heard that. That is pretty cool. That was a great performance.
There's a best of, and there's like a full set.
Yeah.
Have they ever done like a deluxe reissue that's got all of the stuff in it? I've never seen.
I don't know.
I've only ever seen, the original. Just the one LP.
Yeah.
So is that album there? Is that from that show?
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the one. Okay.
Yeah, I've got it on CD. I've got it on vinyl, and it's the sound. It was what was shown on TV. It's just the audio version of it.
Cool.
But there's got to be, and I don't know if there's ever, like I said, I don't know if there's ever been one, but there has to be some kind of deluxe because they filmed a lot more than what was actually broadcast.
Well, if you think this year,
that'd be cool.
This is the 55th anniversary this year. They could do it.
I would love that's a super deluxe I'd buy in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
With like a remaster of the movie too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Very cool.
And the actual leather underwear that he was wearing comes with a piece of
I was going to go a lock of his hair, but if you want to
I just watched that Elvis movie on HBO or Crave or whatever the hell it's on.
I haven't seen it yet. I've heard mixed reviews.
Oh no, I love it. It's my favorite.
It's horrible.
It's my favorite.
Horrible.
I
I'll
know
take it.
people that have
Oh.
said it sucked. My wife said it sucked, and I know people like Sam that have said it's awesome.
No, I like the. I got. In all fairness, I think the actor did a really good job playing Elvis. I think that's a hard, iconic character to put across, and I thought he did really well. But that's the only thing I got to say about the movie. It was cartoonish in a way. It was kind of weird. It was.
How was Tom Hanks as
I love him.
He was okay.
I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, he was
To
okay.
me, yeah, I've only seen it the one time in the theaters. Right now, like, my favorite music biopic is Love and Mercy, but
Oh, I love that.
I think
Love
I
and
think
Mercy. Which one's that?
That's Brian Wilson.
Paul Dano and John Cusack.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah,
That's so
and
good.
Paul Giamatti.
yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
But I think the Elvis one over time might eclipse it.
Really.
I loved it.
Oh, thought it was
I
really
loved it.
dreadful.
Yeah, I seriously, I loved every second. of
We
it.
should talk about music biopics one of these weeks.
Maybe that would be a good one.
I like Bohemian Rhapsody. That one was awesome.
That was good. I saw that in theaters.
Some liberties with the truth, but I still liked it.
Oh, I guess we're not ready to do things yet because Rob's doing his number 3.
My number 3 was Queen at Live Aid.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, what do you say? In my opinion, that is the single greatest musical performance of all time, bar none.
Wow, very cool.
There's no fireworks, there's no video screens, there's none of that shit. It's just
Uh,
4 guys, and Freddie Mercury just has them eating out of the palm of his hand.
and Sir Brian May playing the guitar.
I just thought it was. For my money, there's not a greater
Yeah.
live performance in the history of popular music.
And the true star were John Deacon's shorts.
They
He
were
gave Bob Weir a run for his money.
So MTV wasn't on in Canada at that time. Like it was shown live on MTV in the States.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they got shown up here on anything at all.
I think
live,
wasn't
or on a
it
network,
broadcast on like CBC or something
maybe
like that?
I don't recall that, but I was living in Peace River, Alberta, like 5 hours north of Edmonton, like way up in the frickin' boonies at the time, and we had satellite TV. That's the only thing we had because there's no cable or anything out there, and we had MTV, and I had my VHS player there recording the whole thing as it was going. I had it for years, all the whole thing on. We kept switching the tapes as they ended. So I saw all of that frickin' thing. Okay. I guess I got to go now. Number 3, is it?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know if you guys are going to pick this or not in your top 2. I get the feeling this might be Sam's number 1. The Last Waltz.
That's my number 1. You stole it.
Okay. How could you not want to be at the Last Waltz? One of the great events in music history.
Did I hear a rumor correctly that Mazzy was at that show?
He was
he
at that show.
he said last week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was at Altamont.
Yeah, and he was at Altamont too. Yeah. Yeah, The Last Waltz. I mean, what can you say? We've all seen it. I mean, epic performance. It's just a historic event, really.
I watched the movie on
And
Thanksgiving.
I like turkey.
Yeah, you like turkey. And you like to play it loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to the album yesterday and just, come on, it's killer.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my number 3. Now let's have some. I just read some of the comments above. That Beach Boys album is terrible. Which Beach Boys album were we referring to?
Holland is terrible.
Holland, maybe?
Maybe it's Holland. I'm not sure.
That's the only
Let
one
us
he mentioned.
know which one you're talking about. Status Meets Final. Thanks for sharing that story. I hadn't heard that before. I'm ranking the Beach Boys albums on my channel next week. Spoiler alert: Summer in Paradise is last. I didn't even know that.
No.
Oh, this is funny. Glenn, I hear your anti-cassette.
I love that, Glenn. I laughed my ass off.
I'm not a big fan of outdoor outhouses and outdoor plumbing. It's just that the cassette is. It's not cool like vinyl.
You were just salty because your dishwasher died, so you were,
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And cassettes, a lot of times they would take an album and like just decide, we don't need the song anymore.
We don't have enough room in this cassette, so we don't put this song on it. And 8 tracks, they used to have that, like the thing would switch over halfway between the song.
Yeah. And you got that small print that
this is just. Why not collect 78s? And
I hate cassettes. I don't see the nostalgic appeal.
I don't see it either. That's my thing. I don't see the nostalgia of it. But if you like collecting them,
the only thing that I I look at as nostalgia from cassettes. I was a cassette kid. Making mixtapes was a fun,
It was fun.
but to actually buy an album on cassette,
Yeah.
God, if I never see another cassette as long as I live, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I don't get it.
No. But hey, if that's
Whatever
your boat,
floats your boat, I guess.
go for it.
Hey, David.
Howdy,
Hey,
David.
David.
Oh, we didn't pick any jazz concerts. David, the jazz connoisseur. No Miles Davis at the Fillmore or anything. Hey, David. The Bob Dylan Gospel Tour, 79-80. Just to,
Yeah,
that would have been great because he played Massey Hall.
and a killer band too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Keltner on the drums and Mick Taylor.
What did I do? I
Knopfler.
kind of skipped a bunch of stuff here.
Ooh, somebody mentioned one that I didn't even think about. Concert for George.
I thought about it. I had it at number 10 and it got bumped.
I didn't even think about it.
Okay, there we go. Hi, Royce. How much did you pay for that? It's expensive. What, the Beach Boys box?
I think he might. I don't know if he's watching live or if he's started at the beginning, so I don't know if he can hear it. But I got it for Christmas, just the 2-disc.
There was a 50th deluxe release.
Yeah, that's the Jeff's
for
talking
Elvis.
about the 68
Yeah,
comeback.
for Elvis.
I like Elvis, but I still have never seen the 68 TV
Oh.
special.
Oh, you got it, David.
David, you should watch it.
It's an education.
Yeah,
The
I like
king,
parts of
the
the
king
Elvis
at his
movie.
peak, I think.
Yeah, I like parts of the Elvis movie too, but I really liked when they were showing like Little Richard and guys like that playing.
They said that that guy Austin Butler, they're thinking they're going to release because apparently I think he recorded like the whole 68 special, like because a lot of it's him singing.
Really?
Yeah, that dude, he's beyond talented. He can sing just like Elvis.
Complete special 40th anniversary. Why did the
I'm gonna
rap
have to track that down. Jack.
Trapify all?
I gotta
Why
get that.
the rap and Trapify all Elvis songs?
Did you like the end of the Elvis movie? Not because it was over, but just the ending.
I don't even know if I fast forwarded through the ending.
Oh.
I think I was gone by then.
Yeah, you still haven't seen it yet, Rob?
No,
Yeah,
it's on my list. I'm gonna get to.
I won't tell you, but you really need to.
Let me guess. He dies on the toilet.
Not quite.
Actually, no. I have seen the end because
They don't show the end. They just show him making a peanut butter and banana sandwich. They don't show what happens after that.
I
Shooting
did
the
see it
TV.
because I walked in the room when my wife was finishing. Is when he's getting on the plane or whatever, and he gives Lisa Marie a hug or something.
No, that's not the end. That's close to it, but that's not the end scene.
All right.
No, the end scene is just it's so emotional.
Hendrix opening for the Monkees would have been interesting.
To hear them chanting Davy, the whole crowd was chanting.
I saw the
Davy.
Monkees on that tour, but Jimmy was off the tour by the time I saw them. Maureen, I would like to have seen that too. Yeah, Monkees. I was a Monkees fanatic in '66. I was 10. I was 13 at the time and was a fanatic and saw them in '67 at Maple Leaf Gardens. My number one would be Bowie's last concert at Ziggy. Great as Bowie was, Mick Ronson almost steals the show. Steve, I don't know why I didn't put Bowie down for one of these, but I was thinking about it, and that would have been amazing. I recorded hours of Live Aid while it was happening on Betamax. Yeah, that's what I did too. I recorded it on my VHS.
Over your old wedding videos.
Yeah. I love seeing the Police early 80s before they broke up. Yeah. Police at the Horseshoe Tavern.
The
They
shoe.
played the Horseshoe.
The shoe.
Me neither. I actually used to buy pre-recorded cassette tapes when I was a teenager.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we all did, but
it would have been awesome also to see.
jeez.
I know we're not done, but Simon.
I
and
used to
Garfunkel-
watch black and white TV too, but I don't watch it anymore.
Simon and Garfunkel at any of those clubs would have been incredible.
I would love to have been at the concert for George. Yeah. Mazzy was at that too.
Yeah, he was.
LOL, no problem. I might change this name. Oh, the Jazz Connoisseur.
He's gonna come back next week as George the Jazz.
Concert for George at Royal Albert Hall. Yeah, it would have been great. I had one chance when I was in London. BB King was playing at Royal Albert Hall, and I was just too lazy to go. I was phoning up for tickets; they were available, and I thought this would be pretty cool. And I thought, just to go tonight and go. I kicked myself that I didn't go there.
You've missed some big ones, Glenn.
Ramsey Lewis at the University of Las Vegas when I was 17 or 18. Wow, Ramsey Lewis Trio. Miles kind of Blue Quintet live. Yeah, that Miles would have been amazing. Is when
Yeah.
Elvis and the guys are playing acoustic guitars.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, Zach.
Good evening, Zach. We're just going to start over. Do number 10. Let's start at number 10.
Number
Where's that?
10, ABBA, Royal Albert Hall.
Okay.
I'd be
And
good.
we got 2 more to go.
Top 2. I'm gonna follow Rob, Queen at Live Aid. I mean, just to see them do Hammer to Fall, that moment where the whole crowd is doing, they're singing that, and then the Radio Gaga is what I'm thinking of, but Hammer to Fall and also Radio Gaga, just killer tracks. Especially Hammer to Fall. That's a very underappreciated Queen track. Kind of the weird acoustic Bohemian Rhapsody, how he starts like right into it. They don't do the intro. He just goes right into the Mama. Even though that song is so played out, it's one of those that
It is, but it's still one of the greatest songs ever written. So to hear it
is.
live and in that context,
to hear it at their peak performance that year with just that audience energy and to participate in it. I mean, they only played 22 minutes or something like that.
something like that.
It just would have been incredible. It would have been incredible. And, Roger Taylor was killing it on background vocals as he always does. We Are the Champions. It's all so it's another one of those things like the U2 halftime show that I'll go back on YouTube and just watch those 20 minutes of Queen.
Yeah, it's epic. It really was.
It's epic. And it's straight ahead rock and roll. They went in there, they tore the house down, made some of those other people, even like Zeppelin. That was like the big thing that people were so excited about, Led Zeppelin reuniting. They were
Can you
lazy.
imagine following that performance?
And then Freddie Mercury and the boys go up there and just destroy everybody. It was just unbelievable. Freddie looked great. They all looked, like pictures of health. It was just a perfect festival moment. It was incredible.
Wow, that's cool. Would
Yep.
you want to spend the whole day there, or you just wanted to go see Queen and get the hell
I would
out?
see Queen. I would see U2. And obviously Dylan. I mean, to see Dylan up there with Keith Richards is just cool. But
Yeah.
I don't need to see Phil Collins jump across continents.
You wouldn't have got on the Concorde with Phil and gone back and forth from Wembley to.
I would have needed a lot of Mountain Dew or whatever else. whatever they were taking to stay awake.
I think they were on something heavier than Mountain Dew, but
I would have gone just to take a ride on the Concorde.
yeah, no kidding. Wow. So, Rob, you're number 2.
My number 2's already been done before, and that's the Beatles on Ed Sullivan the first time. Nothing more we need to say. I mean, that's just such one of the landmark moments that changed music.
One of the most historic events.
Yep.
If you did a historic musical events ranking, it's got to be arguably number 1.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm doing a Beatles one too. I am torn between saying Beatles in Hamburg and Beatles at the Cavern. But I think if you caught the Beatles at the Cavern at the right time, when they first started playing there, I think it would have been cool. But
I get what you're saying, and the reason I do Hamburg is because, like to your point, they would play those just 6-hour shows where they'd just be absolutely wired.
Toilet paper bowls over their head and freaking just going crazy. And
have you ever heard that there was a recording produced in their last visit to Hamburg? It came out as a double LP on Lingasong, which was a German label. It's a pretty shitty recording, audio quality wise, but it's great to listen to because there's stuff on there that you will never hear the Beatles do anywhere else.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's called, I think the album is just called The Beatles Live at the Star Club. It's audio quality is shit, but for what they play, I would have loved to have been there live.
Yeah.
But
So
the
much
Cavern
energy.
too. The Cavern is where they,
Yeah.
when you think
Even John Lennon said the Beatles really were a good live band that in those days, not when they toured.
And I guess if you see them at the Cavern, you see them most likely with Ringo. You see them in Hamburg. You see them with Pete Best.
Yeah. Well, you would have saw them when they first started playing the Hamburg, before they went to Hamburg playing the Cavern. That's what I'm saying. The early Cavern days when they were playing the afternoon shows and stuff might have been cool, but Yeah, there was just to see the Beatles early on before they.
I'm gonna change then. Hear about this. I want to go to the Woolton Parish Fete to see John Lennon on the back of the wagon. Can
Man,
you imagine?
when John met Paul,
That would have been cool.
there you go.
Damn it.
Oh, come on. Okay, that's the number one.
That's end the live stream, Glenn. We're done.
Wow, wow. Why didn't we think of that one?
Why didn't we think of that? And then afterwards, when Paul goes to meet him after the show and John says, "Hey, can you play something?" Oh man.
Unbelievable.
20 Flight Rock.
There you
I
go.
didn't even familiar with a jazz band called Shadowfax. No, but when I saw your Royce, when I saw that come up, I wrote it down. So I'm gonna check them out.
I've heard of Carfax.
I don't know any jazz.
Yo, Zach. I've heard of Shadowfax, but haven't come across any of their records. I would like to have seen Live Aid, Phil Collins, Led Zeppelin, live set anyway. Yeah. I was given 3 by Chuck Greenberg, horn player, and I'd say leader of the band while building a custom home for Chuck. I was given 3. 3 what? I don't quite know. David knows it was cool. I think I've seen that clip of Beatles on Ed Sullivan. Yeah. Harrison Bangladesh concert would have been good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. David Chuck was a great buy. Shadow Dance by Shadow Axe. It's not Shadow Fax? Is it Shadow Axe? You guys are confusing the heck out of me here. I'm too old for this. Albums.
3 album.
3 albums.
3. Oh, okay. There we go. I don't know. Okay, so who's up now? What are we doing? You just did number.
Sam's up for number 1.
Number 1. The Last Waltz. It's
Last
gotta be.
Waltz. The Last Waltz. Yeah. I mean, it's the greatest concert of all time. And it has like all of my favorite artists of all time in the same spot. To see Van Morrison kick during Caravan would be price of admission alone. To hear Ronnie Hawkins do Who Do You Love? Dr. John's killer version of Such a Night. Makes no difference. It's killer. The Night They Dribbled Dixie Down is fantastic with the Allen Toussaint horns. If you haven't seen that, I don't know why you're a music fan because you have to see it. I mean,
the only performance from that special that I wish they had have done live was The Wait with the Staples. They did that pre-recorded.
And then they did The Wait by themselves. Yeah.
Well, they did do it.
version
They did do it
with
live.
the-
They just
with
didn't
the
put it on the
Staples
album
was amazing.
or in the movie.
One of my favorite tracks, also that I wish they would have done live, but I like the studio version during the Last Waltz suite on the album is Evangeline. Just
Yeah.
love it with Emmylou Harris.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And I like the Robbie Robertson sung tunes at the end. They're in the
Yep.
suite.
Yeah, the
Um,
Last Waltz suite, like the
like there's like 6 tracks
Yeah.
at the end of the album, the studio
that's pretty
tracks.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, and it just the Last Waltz.
yeah. Oh yeah, what an event! Amazing. And it went on till like, didn't it go on till like in the middle till dawn?
3 or 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because
Would have run out of turkey then.
I think the applause lasted like almost an hour. Like people didn't leave, and Bill Graham was like, "You need to go." And so he's like, "You boys need to get out there and play a song so we can get these people out of here." Because you can see when they come back out, like they're in different clothes, and they're like, "You're still here."
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, what an event. I want to be on the top of the double-decker bus watching George audition for the Beatles with Raunchy. Yeah, can you
Yeah, that would
imagine?
be something too.
Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom.
I love the stuff that's coming up now. Oh,
What
it
was
is
your-
facts. Shadow Facts. Okay.
What was your number 1?
Oh, I haven't done my number 1 yet. I'm going to get caught up. I'm going to hold it.
Oh,
Montrose does a great version of 20 Flight Rock. Nobody does it as good as Paul.
Carl Perkins.
That was meant to be great guy, LOL.
It's hard to keep up with the inner conversations.
Yeah. My number 1 is to be Prince's Super Bowl halftime show. Interesting. Ziggy, Bowie on Ziggy tour. I'm thinking of Shadow Dang, Andy Gibbs now. Oh, you guys are freaking me out here. Hendrix at the Paris Olympia. I saw Jimmy at Maple Leaf Gardens in 1969. I would have loved to have seen him with the band of Gypsies at the Fillmore on New Year's 1969. That would have been cool. Okay, my number one.
What about my number one?
Oh, you don't get to go anymore.
My number one, The Last
He
Waltz.
said it. He said it 2 rounds ago.
Still, for people that are just tuning in,
Right,
I'm allowed to have a
right,
number
right.
one, and it's
Yeah.
The Last Waltz for all the
Yeah.
reasons Sam said. All right, Glenn, your turn.
The Last Waltz, is that your number one?
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are predictable.
Great
Anybody
minds
even
think
take a
alike.
guess what my number one is?
It's going to be the Grateful Dead sometime in the 80s.
Or something Zappa, maybe. I don't know.
Sam's pretty close. January 14th, 1967.
Oh,
Golden
early.
Gate Park. The Human Bee-In, which was kind of the start of that whole year of psychedelia and the Summer of Love and everything. The event was staged as a protest to them making LSD against the law in October of 1966. So they invited Timothy Leary and Allen Ginsberg and Lawrence Ferngully, one of the Beat Poets, and I don't know who else was. Oh, Jerry Rubin was there from the Chicago 7, a whole bunch of all these radicals. And then the bands playing were the Grateful Dead, Jefferson Airplane, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Quicksilver Messenger Service. And it's just what a day that would have been.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's and Blue Cheer, another band that was there. Timothy Leary's famous phrase, turn on, tune in, drop out. That's where he cited that. And very cool. That's my number one.
Was that wasn't when the Grateful Dead played on the back of the pickup truck, was it?
They did that quite often.
And,
There.
and Haight Asbury.
Yeah, I think they'd set up a stage for this particular thing, but maybe it was maybe they all were on a pickup truck. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool lists.
Okay, now I would not have wanted to go to any of these. I hated disco.
No, I wouldn't
Bee Gees
want to
disco era. I would have loved to have seen the Bee Gees in the 60s when they were doing
pop.
pop songs.
Yeah.
The Who Live at Leeds. Good
That-
one.
That made my short list. I had it written down, Randy.
Shadowfax should make a song called Dialing You Up. We're getting a lot of love for Shadowfax. Cats, I'm a huge Hendrix fan. A couple of weeks ago, I did a Hendrix 80th birthday tribute podcast. Oh, very cool. Did you ever see Jimmy Royce? I would have loved to be at the Roy Orbison Black and White Night concert. That would have been cool, too. That was
That's
a great,
another person that came up for me was any of those early Tom Waits shows. Any
yeah.
of his old bar shows would have been incredible.
I saw him in a pretty small venue in 1978.
Wow.
The theater, the Roxy Theater at on the Danforth.
Oh, wow. What
Yeah.
what was coming out? Was that Swordfish Trombones?
It was right around, I think, the Nighthawks at the Diner. Like the live album came out shortly around that time, if I remember.
Was it that late?
It was amazing. He was kind of came out, and it was really bare bones. It was him with piano and a sax player and a piano bass. That was about it. And he had the street lamp there with him as a prop, and it was just really a bare bones show. It was really
He had
amazing.
Nighthawks in 75, Small Change, Foreign Affairs in
Was it?
78.
Okay, yeah.
78 was Blue Valentine.
See, I don't think I wasn't really like right on top of Tom Waits when he came out.
Yeah, you just knew it. Yeah,
I got Nighthawks at the Diner was the first thing I ever bought by Tom Waits.
Yeah.
And if it came out in 75, I probably didn't get that till 77 or something. That's probably when I first discovered him. Do I have any pictures of yourself in 67? I don't have very few pictures of myself when I was young for some reason. I don't know why.
They hadn't invented the camera
We
yet.
just didn't have cameras around. And
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I got one more that didn't make my list that I just thought of.
What's that?
The Surf Ballroom, February the 2nd, 1959, Clear Lake, Iowa. The day the music died.
Oh my God.
That
Would
was
you-
on my
can you-
list too.
Can you imagine seeing Buddy Holly and company
Yeah.
hours before they died?
Wow.
Merle Haggard.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That was on my list. I was thinking about seeing Buddy Holly. I had him written down. I also had the Brian Wilson Smile Tour would have been awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, for me, I would have loved to have seen when the Byrds played the Ryman with Graham Parsons when they got booed.
Oh,
when
really?
When they did Hickory Wind after Sweetheart, when they said that they were going to do, a traditional country song, and Graham said, yeah. And then went out there and played Hickory Wind instead. And they got,
they got booed for playing Hickory Wind?
Because it was original, and they said, this is the country music. We don't need you rock stars playing.
Oh, yeah. Plus, they had long hair, and all those people back then would have been like, yeah.
Yeah. So
it was string them up, right?
It was the Sweetheart lineup, like one of the few times they played live together.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool. I had the first one I was going to put at number 10, and I changed it because it really wasn't a past performance. But something I'm dying to see is Bob Dylan's Rough and Rowdy Ways tour. That was going to be my number 10.
I've seen it.
Oh, man. This bugs me.
Yeah, Waylon Jennings, Christian. You're right.
Grant's Rock. Where else? Hey, Grant.
Hey, Grant.
Got to go, guys. Need to tune up my editing skills. See you soon. Thanks, Steve. Great to see you, buddy. Waylon Jennings. Yeah, Waylon Jennings. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave up.
Elton in 1970. Las Vegas Convention Center. Again, at the piano show a couple of years ago. That was amazing. Small venue, no bad seats. Wow, 1970. He was just a relative unknown, really.
Yeah, in the U.S. for sure.
Wow.
That would have been like his trio show that I mentioned earlier at the Troubadour with Nigel and Dee. Wow. Do you follow Davey Johnston on Instagram?
No.
He kind of does like what Mike Campbell does, and like will play like a solo from any of the songs. He just did yesterday. It was fantastic. He did his mandolin solo from Holiday Inn, and just like it was just him in like his hotel room playing it. It's a really neat Instagram page.
Wow.
And
look at this, David Young. I don't know. No, that's not the one I wanted to show. That's the next one. Cats of Sherman. I saw Brian Wilson on the Smile Tour and the First Pet Sounds Tour in 2000 and met him too.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I love that Smile album.
It'd be interesting to know what was he shy or reserved, or was he outgoing and friendly? It'd be interesting to know because obviously he had his issues, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't know because he even when you watch that documentary, the recent documentary when he's driving around with that journalist who's he's friends with, which that
Long Promise Road.
Yeah, he gets. Like he just says to the guy, hey, you're making me kind of tense here. I'm getting kind of paranoid or something, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you just wonder what kind of a...
And that's probably what he's learned in therapy. Like if he is feeling it, just say it.
Oh, what a bill that is. The Who, Jethro Tull, and It's a Beautiful Day at Tanglewood, Massachusetts.
Speaking of, Glenn, you'll appreciate this. I'm not sure if, Rob, you're a fan. I'm not a fan, but Martin Barr's coming to my area sometime in the spring.
Go see him. Fantastic band.
Is he?
Really good. I saw him a few years ago at Hughes Room in Toronto. A freaking great show.
He's doing
great
all
guitar player. If he's still got the same band, the singer's fantastic. Really well worth seeing that show, especially in a small venue. That's great. James Brown at the Apollo. Can you imagine? Never thought any Apollo shows.
Yeah.
James Brown. That's a great one, Randy. Saw Brian on the First Pet Sounds Tour. The Wondermints were great. Is that a band or is that some kind of a...
The Wondermints, they were kind of like they were their own pop band that did...
Oh, I thought it was like the Brown Acid or something.
No, they essentially became Brian Wilson's band in the late 90s.
Hey, don't eat the don't eat the Wondermints.
The Wondermints. Except they would have spelled it with like a U or something.
In Cleveland. Grand Funk. Filling up Madison Square Garden, sold out in 5 minutes. I saw Grand Funk in 1969 at Maple Leaf Gardens as an opening act. They were amazing. He was friendly. He always has a freak out moment in every show I've seen. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's backing band, the Wondermints.
Yeah, Nicky Wonder just passed away a couple of years ago, the founder.
Yeah, so you think Brian's done now, eh? How old is he?
He's 80. He's only
Oh, is he?
he's only a couple days younger than McCartney.
Yeah.
But he's 80 going on
100. Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
It's hard to say. I mean, he like that tour that they were talking about in the chat earlier. He's canceled a few, but then they went back when he's still touring with Al Jardine and Blondie Chaplin. And Al's still performing, and Blondie sits in with people from who was from the Holland era. I mean, I think it would be best for Brian to stop for his own health. That way we can keep him around longer.
Yeah.
Just as a person.
And plus, I mean, if he's, if he can't do it anymore, he can't do it anymore at some point,
But see,
as long as I don't care about an age thing, if you can keep performing, that's great. But if at some point,
the voice is a fraction of what it used to be.
Yeah.
I think his hearing is shot. And
that's the thing, though. The band is so tight, and Al still sounds so good. And Al's son Matt does all the falsetto parts now,
which is crazy because his son is like a friggin' linebacker.
He's a big man.
Really?
He can hit those high notes.
What's funny is if you watch, like those old, you're talking about Stamos earlier, some of those old Full Houses when the Beach Boys were on there, his son is in there, and he's the one with like the ponytail. Yeah. And those old Full Houses. Now he just looks like a normal dad, but.
Wow.
It's a tight band.
And the funny thing with Brian, it's not like he can go out and do it's not like a regular rock song like Springsteen can go out and do or McCartney can do. I mean, his it's so intricate in terms of the vocal performance.
It's like a symphony. It's like going to see a symphony, really.
Yeah.
I mean, without the band behind him, there's no reason to see Brian other than he's the genius that wrote this stuff. But
yeah.
It would be like going to like the Sistine Chapel and seeing, Michelangelo sitting there, or Da Vinci, whoever did Da Vinci. Yeah. Like you're not seeing him do it. Yeah, right. Yeah, paint by number. But you're seeing that's the man who did it, and there it is.
I like Raphael better. He was my favorite Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, right.
Saw Black Sabbath, Las Vegas Convention Center 70-71, then again California Jam 74, along with Deep Purple, Eagles, Earth, Wind and Fire, Jackson Browne, Black Oak, Arkansas, Rare Earth. Wow, that's pretty cool. They just don't you can't do that anymore like they used to do in the late 60s, early 70s, just pack a whole bunch of bands in a day and have these great shows. Warren Zevon at the Roxy would have been fantastic. Great choice, Randy. Never saw Warren Zevon. Wish I would have. I don't know if he toured that much.
I would have liked to have seen Prine when Christofferson discovered him in that empty bar.
Yeah, there's a good one too. A Chicago early when Prine was still a mailman
at the coffee shop, playing 3 shows a day.
Yeah. I've seen Christofferson. He was really good.
Yeah, I'll bet you he was. Have you guys ever thought about going on one of those cruises? They have they have like a Prague cruise, and they have an Americana cruise.
Yeah, the Beach Boys do one. The Zombies do one.
My cousin used to go before he passed away. He used to go every year on the Americana one, and then you'd go on the cruise for a week, and Steve Earle and Lucinda Williams and Chris Christopherson, and he'd come back with all incredible.
Yeah,
wandering around the boat, and they're doing shows in little rooms and stuff.
Yeah. No, I always get ads for the Moody Blues one. That's one I see all the time. That's like the Zombies or Herman's Hermits. And
the Gorge in Washington State is definitely a venue. So you just talk about venues like Red Rocks.
I was going to say Red Rocks. I'd love to go.
I am really, really. I'm waiting for the Avett Brothers to announce shows in Red Rocks, and I think I'm going to go this summer.
Yeah,
I've never been. I've got a friend who lives in Denver. I think I might do it.
Wow. How far a drive is that for you?
Oh, I would fly. I wouldn't drive.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a haul. It's probably 21 hours or so at least.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Red Rocks is right at the top of my list. The Gorge is up there too, though. What a beautiful place.
I'd like to go to the Beacon. Is one that I want to see.
Yeah, the Beacon would be great in New York.
Hollywood Bowl. I would love to go there.
Yeah.
Royal Albert Hall for me.
Royal Albert Hall would be great.
I've walked around the Royal Albert Hall inside, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, really? Eh? Wow.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Man.
We weren't allowed to go. We weren't allowed to take pictures when I went because Cirque du Soleil was setting up, and they didn't want their secrets out, like how they set up their rigs. So I couldn't take pictures inside, but it was beautiful. talking about how the dome just sits on top and
Yeah.
it's not cemented or anything on top. It's
I'd like
crazy.
to see a good show at the Ryman too, like
Oh yeah,
Old
Yeah.
Crow or somebody that I really like there.
Old
Not
Crow.
just yeah.
Yeah. They had a killer New Year's Eve show. It looked like.
I like to see the Cosmic Torpedoes at the Ryman.
Yeah. We
If
deserve
I
to play there.
if I had that opportunity, I would probably throw up just to be on that stage.
Cruise to the Edge. That's one of the names of the cruises. Richie Havens, downtown Long Beach, 73. That would have been very cool. I love Richie Havens. Yeah, Woodstock. Any of those Woodstock things were like.
99 was a shit show. There's
They
a
shouldn't
great
have called that.
documentary.
They shouldn't have called
about
them
it.
Woodstock. They just shouldn't have.
Another one
Somebody-
that I thought about was Joe Cocker at Woodstock.
With a lot
Yeah.
of help from my friends, I thought about it.
Yeah.
But I'd only want to see the one song. I don't really care about the rest of his set.
Oh, he's killer.
I love those Steve Hackett band shows that he puts out albums doing the Genesis stuff. And I'm not a Genesis fan, but I'm telling you, the Steve Hackett band doing those albums is freaking so good. He's such a great guitar player. It was amazing. They even helicoptered Linda Lovelace and brought her on stage to talk to us. I wonder what she had to say.
Hey, JT.
Center Wild Turkey opened, and Yes was on their Fragile tour. Wow. They're 4 blocks away from the venue. Wow, very cool. I'm going on the 80s cruise in March. Oh, there's somebody going on one of those cruises.
Oh, there's the
Who's on the show?
That's the
Oh,
next
here
one.
we go. Devo, Howard Jones, The Church. It's going to be great.
I don't know.
I'm only going if XTC is going to be there.
Do they still
Wow.
play regular? Does Andy Partridge still play?
He doesn't tour.
They don't tour. Do they still make
Yeah.
records?
XTC's not making records, but he puts out stuff.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. Yeah. You didn't have? I sent you the link for that documentary. You didn't happen to watch it. Did you?
I haven't had a chance to look at it. No.
Yeah, it's really good. Even if you're not an XTC fan.
Is that the pop documentary?
Yeah,
Yeah, I need to watch it. I've heard you talk about it. And,
it's really good.
Larry.
I regret not seeing Van
Yeah.
Halen.
They would have been high energy. To see Eddie, it would have just
I got to see. So I was a big Howard Stern fan, and when Howard used to do the things when he went into a new market and became number one, he would go there to the
Yeah.
market and put on a funeral for the old DJ who used to be number one. So he did it in Cleveland, and my brother-in-law and I drove down. It's right in, if you've ever been in Cleveland, they call it the Flats, where it's right by the river, and they have all the bars and stuff like that. And there's a big parking lot there, and they set up a big, huge stage for Howard's show. And the night we went there, when we first got to town, we booked into our hotel and we drove down to where just to check out where it was going to be. And they were all doing their sound checks. And David Lee Roth was on the show, and he had a band that was doing the Van Halen. He was doing all the Van Halen stuff.
Yeah.
And we were standing in front of the stage, like there was like 10 of us
Yeah.
watching them play, and they were doing Jump and
Yeah.
all of the Van Halen hits. They
Wow.
were really freaking good.
Wow. My uncle was in he travels a lot for business, and this is probably 7 or 8, maybe 10 years ago. He was, I think, in North Carolina, and he was on an elevator, I think maybe Raleigh. He got on the elevator, and getting off the elevator, he didn't get an autograph, and he just kind of nodded his head at him. Robert Plant.
No way.
And my cousin, who's my age, he was so mad that his dad didn't get anything signed.
Yeah.
Because he didn't care anything about Zeppelin. But he
Most
knew
of the
who it
time, you're
was.
not sitting there with a pen in your hand, though, or
I know. And he was staying in the same hotel.
there's a really cool steakhouse downtown Toronto, Barbarian Steakhouse. And my wife and I used to go there a lot when we were living downtown. And we went there one night, and Geddy Lee sitting beside me eating dinner. And I didn't want to bug him. I just left him alone. But then I thought, because like Barbarians is about, if you could run to HMV at that time in about a minute and a half. So I was thinking, should I run to HMV and grab a CD and get him to sign it?
Do you ever notice in the summer when you're watching the Jays games that Geddy Lee has?
Oh yeah, he's there quite often.
He's 4 seats over from the home plate lady.
Yeah, he's
And
got
people are sitting there and having no idea that it's him because he's got his hat on and his glasses.
Yeah. He just he's.
If I was sitting there, I'd be like, "Holy shit, Geddy Lee's sitting behind me."
Yeah, he's such a big baseball fan.
What
saw
we're talking
Vanilla
about,
Fudge.
Sam, is in when the Blue Jays play, Geddy Lee has season tickets right behind home plate. So you see him for like almost 3/4 of the games. He's sitting
Wow.
there and no one has any idea that it's
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. He's a big baseball collector
Huge.
of memorabilia, huge baseball
Yeah,
cards.
yeah. That interview that he did
baseballs.
with Dan Rather is fantastic, where he shows all that stuff
Yeah.
a few years ago.
Vanilla Fudge. Set me free, why don't you? Randy knew at the better end when he did his live album. The onstage banner would be entertaining. Very cool. My sister saw
Ooh.
St. John Denver in 74. She had a 14-year crush on him. A 14-year-old crush. So she was 14 years
was
old, or
14.
the crush was 14 years old. Say Van Halen after we reunited with David Lee Roth at the Fairgrounds. Highlight was the encore. Eddie came out still in a chair and soloed for about that. Now that would be cool. That's because I think David Lee Roth is one of the most annoying human beings that ever lived. But
I would agree.
I could watch Eddie play a guitar.
Any of those MTV Unplugged shows would have been killer too, to see Clapton
Why the hell didn't I forget?
Man, yeah.
or Stevie Ray
Clapton's
Vaughan.
Unplugged? Yeah.
McCartney did one.
McCartney
Yep.
did one. He had Greg Bissonette in the band.
Yeah.
And Warren Ham was in it too.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm not a giant Nirvana fan, but I would have liked the Nirvana Unplugged.
Yeah.
Or just that or Neil Young. That's a killer show too. From the
Yeah,
early
Neil
90s.
Young's Unplugged.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed the first part. I had to eat.
You didn't have to eat,
mentioned
Randy.
seeing Springsteen in New Jersey. No, at one of the what's the pony or Stone Pony or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Another lady that I know, her son was one of my friends in college. She went to school in Charlottesville at University of Virginia, and some of the coffee shops there, she saw before they were huge. Bonnie Raitt came. She's a huge Bonnie Raitt fan, and she saw Springsteen like in this small club, like 200
my
people,
God.
tops, like 72, 73.
Can you imagine, eh?
No,
I just thought of another one I would have liked to have seen back in the, I guess, very early 70s. I would have loved to have seen Linda Ronstadt when the Eagles were her backing band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine?
No.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, if you're
There's so many.
thinking about it, it's like overwhelming.
Yeah, you could almost do 10 more.
Oh, for sure. What are we going to do? We got 10 minutes. So next week we're doing
Super groups.
Super groups.
we're going to do a super group. So how many are we limited by how many people are going to be in the band? 7, you think? Or no?
What if you're going to add like a horn section? Then you're up to like probably 15.
I say
I'm I'm adding a horn section.
I say just do, but we keep it at 10. That way they
10.
can do even like background singers. Like we can
Yeah.
choose them too.
10. Let's do 10. Keep it at 10.
Yeah, because that seems to knock out the first hour, 20 minutes or so, and
Yeah.
then the last 40 for chats.
That's good.
So you can have two rhythm guitarists, you can have 2 bassists. I mean, the Dead has 2 drummers.
Yeah.
Keys, organ.
I've got 3 singers. They're all going to take turns. I've already got my band put together.
Well, I haven't done it yet, but
I've done
Yeah.
this several times, and it's a different band every time depending on the style.
yeah, I'm going to mix it up a bit from what I normally do. Oh, that's Randy. Bella Fluck, Boingo Boingo. Yeah. Earth, Wind, and Fire would be a super group. Yes,
Fred White, the original drummer, just passed away.
that's right. So the Temptations, the 4 Tops, 2 years.
Oh
in
my
a row.
God, that would have been awesome.
Can you imagine? Is that back in when they were like in
Yeah,
the
what era of those groups? So the
Levi
Four Tops,
Stubbs and all the original Temptations and that? Wow.
That would have
Four
been
Tops have nobody, and the Temptations now just have Otis Williams.
4 Tops are my favorite Motown band.
Mine was
That
Smokey
Levi
Robinson.
Stubbs, man, can that guy sing?
Do you want to go around the horn about what's coming up?
Let's do that. Then we're going to call it a night. So anybody you want to talk about your channels? And
Yeah, I'll go. I've got a running list of things that I want to do in the next few days, and they all involve like the beginning part of the year. So I meant to get a video in tonight, but then I had a surprise visit, so I couldn't do it tonight. But I just posted my December vinyl finds, CD finds, and then hopefully filming either maybe tonight, early tomorrow, or tomorrow afternoon. just my December wrap up, what I've been listening to, that sort of thing, to close that series that I've done all year. I'm going to some point in the next week do the vinyl thread that's been going around. Everybody's done it.
Oh, the Vinyl 2023. Yeah, that's been good.
And then obviously Glenn and I go over to Rich Strickler's channel, are part of a new series where we make our own
Plug that.
authentic Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the initial 10 video is already up. So our 10 early rockers are up, and we just filmed tonight, episode 2. So that'll be up. I think Monday is when he said he's going to put those up. So
yeah,
go
yeah, that's
Rich-
great. Go to Rich Strickler's channel and support him and watch our. It's 36 weeks long. It's going to take us to induct everyone.
It's gonna be fun.
This is a year-long project, pretty much. And yeah, Rich is kind of worked the whole thing out, and he's doing a great job managing it, and kindly invited us to participate, and it's been fun.
And he's already sent us our next grouping, so he's
Oh,
on
has
top
he?
of things.
Oh, cool. Yeah. What about you, Rob?
Well, I just did my Vinyl Tag 2023, which was fun. And that was my 99th video that I've posted on YouTube.
Wow. Next video is number 100.
Number 100. So my 1-year anniversary in the VC is the 28th of January. So it's kind of fitting, 100 videos, in the first year. And I just passed 700 subscribers today, which blows me away. So thank
Wow.
you.
Congrats.
700 in a year. I was
A lot, man.
blown away. So
Yeah.
video 100, which I'm going to start on probably tomorrow, is just kind of going to be me looking back at the highlights of things that I've been a part of in the vinyl community over the last year. This live stream being one of those things that I very much look forward to. It's made my highlight reel. So
Awesome.
so that's coming up, and I'm going as soon as we work out scheduling. I'm still going to do a video of my buddy Bob that was in Wilco and Blue Rodeo. We're doing he's coming over sometime in the next little week or two. I think that we're going to shoot a video that is sort of about, some of the things he's done in music and talking about records and stuff. So I'm excited about
That'll
that.
be
as well.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
cool.
We're supposed to do it last week, but then scheduling just
Yeah.
delayed us a little bit.
I'm kind of thinking about just rehashing about a bunch of stuff because I keep falling in love with different bands. I was thinking about ranking my top 10 or 15 bands again because it changes so much. And I was thinking about doing my top 20 songs of all time. I've never done.
I can't do it.
I've been kind of
I
working
did
on
that.
the list.
I haven't made the video, but I have the list written down on my phone, but I've never filmed the video.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I might do that one next.
I have a new
And
favorite song every month.
Yeah, my favorite song is always "Ripple" by the Grateful Dead. I just love that song. It's just the whole meaning behind it. And
Yeah, mine's God only
Mine's
knows.
always "Tumbling Dice" by Linda Ronstadt.
Oh,
Wow.
wow, her version.
now you don't like the Stones, but you love "Tumbling Dice."
Correct.
My second favorite Stones song. I love.
I
Tumbling
just love her version of it. I think it's incredible, and Waddy Wachtel on guitar on that song is
Yeah.
amazing.
Have you ever heard the version by Band of Heathens with
No.
Nikki Lane? It was a COVID album that they put out of all covers with special guests. It is killer.
Really? I'll
Yeah.
check it out.
Tumbling Dice, Band of Heathens. It's
Okay.
so good.
Sam, I just got an album that I think you'd really like. It's I'm a big Ry Cooder fan. His
Yeah.
son Joaquin Cooder put out an album last year, and it's been sitting in my cart for the longest time. I've just never pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah.
And I look at Amazon the other day, and they went $19 for the vinyl. I went, oh, automatic purchase, and it came yesterday. And it's such a good freaking album. It's just rootsy and real easy to listen to, and
Does he sing?
traditional. He sings fine, and the instrumentation's great. I think you would love this album.
Awesome.
Check him out on Joaquin Cooder. He's only got one album out. It's called Down That Road I'm Bound. Over That Road I'm Bound or something. It's real. I think as soon as I was listening to it, I'm going, Sam would love this record.
I just pulled up his information so I don't forget. But is his dad on it? Does Rye play on any of it?
No, I don't think he does.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Cool.
But really, really cool album. Really easy to listen to. Kind of mellow,
Yeah.
kind of traditional, but still the songs are really good. Yeah.
That's my kind of thing.
Yeah. Very good. Well, that's about it. It's 9:57. So thanks everyone. We had a pretty good audience tonight. Thanks everyone for participating, comments. Hope you'll join us next Tuesday when we're going to have our super group, up to 10 people in a band. Put a band
Absolutely.
together. So thanks, guys.
It'll be
Thanks,
fun.
everybody.
Everyone have a great night.
Bye,
Take
everybody.
care.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.